Hi, I'm Johnny, and I'm back to talk about cool art that Sputnik is funding. And it's a pleasure to be with Tom Elliott, who happens to be in that category. So, Tom, first of all, just introduce yourself to us. Who are you? What do you do?
Great. Well, just in case of any confusion, no, I'm not the kid from Home Alone. I am a comedy magician. So that's what I do. Travel around the country doing comedy and magic, largely in churches to launch kind of alpha courses, but feeling in kind of ever increasing sense of need to be a Christian, to carry the presence of Christ, but into the mainstream space.
Wow. Okay. So that is a slight, that could seem to sound like a subtle shift, but that is actually quite a big shift in some ways. Why are you making that move? Can you go into that in any more detail?
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, this has been brewing for a couple of years, right? So, for a long time, I've felt called to be an evangelist, but equally just felt like two things. First of all, when I look at Jesus, I think Jesus did a lot of his miracles in the marketplace, and not as much as he did the temple, or perhaps more so, maybe in the marketplace. But equally, just thinking that in the time that we're in, I just feel like actually before a church can preach, it has to be present in its community, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Being present in a community gives us the permission to then go and perhaps preach or share a message that we believe in. And so I've got this project that we'll talk about, and just moving into this year as we come out of COVID, just enables, it uses the arts, not necessarily to share a message, but just use the arts to be present in a mainstream space, to be present in its community.
It's funny. My mind went off when you said marketplace. I can't help with people thinking selling bananas, going, "Hey, five for a pound." Like, I don't think that's what you mean.
No, well, you never know. I mean, lots of ideas, but
So yes, while my mind is on a bit of tangent, you probably better take back the reins, Tom. What is the new project? What are you doing?
So one of the things that occurred to me as I was thinking this through was that some of my favourite gigs have been when I've been working with other people. But the other passion of mine alongside that is trying to help people to see their own potential, whether they pursue creative work as a career or not. So I set up this thing that's now called People on a Pursuit, and it's just kind of people with goals, people with an idea that they want to pursue. But that started with a bunch of creative people. And so blending those two things together, really, I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if because back before COVID, I'd started this thing in Doncaster with a couple of friends of mine, where we launched a community variety night. And what that, I mean, I call it variety night. That you might make you think of like burlesque dancers or something, which isn't what we were going for. But
That's what I was thinking.
We launched this variety night where basically I would host with a bit of comedy and magic. We'd have a professional musician come and sing and all of that stuff, but also we'd then invite the local community to participate. So whether it was someone reading poems, whether it was someone singing or doing a drama sketch or a choir, whatever it might be a school or whatever it might be, so they can come and contribute. So we blended this kind of professional acts with local members of the community. Now, it was a bunch of Christians hosting it. It wasn't an evangelistic thing at all. There was no message shared, though a lot of the performers were Christian. A lot of the people that we had up were Christian guys and girls. But our main thing was we just want to be present. We want to use entertainment as a way of bringing people hope. And this grew. We saw about kind of 150 people at the end. We did it quarterly. We saw about 150 people come, but these weren't people from churches filling seats, but these were all members of the community.
Brilliant.
People who had no connection with church whatsoever, other than they'd been invited to this thing by a friend. And so this grew, and then I said to Ian, when the kind of pandemic hit and it all got closed down and all of that stuff, and at the time when we thought COVID was only going to last 2 weeks, I said to Ian, who I was doing it with, I said, wouldn't it be awesome if we could replicate this across the country? And so now, as I might be optimistic, but as we come out of it, as we move towards the future and what that looks like as things re-emerge, what I'm working on now, and maybe we've got 5 or 6 ready to launch later this year, is to replicate this idea, this concept across the country.
Fantastic, Tom. I mean, we talked on the phone a short while ago and really enjoyed the conversation, because I mean, your journey would be have been on a very similar journey to you, from kind of church evangelism to just this idea that being faithful, being present, just in the community it's the step that I in the past have often missed out, which is a terrible blunder. But it's a shame about no burlesque dancing. Maybe that can be brought in later. But
well, if you want to offer, Johnny, I mean,
well, good. I'm glad you took it.
Standard is low.
We'll talk later. So, as regards, it's been brilliant. We've given some funding from the Sputnik patron scheme. Thanks again to all those who've supported that. Your money is being redirected to Tom partly. What's that money gone towards then?
Sure. Well, firstly, let me say again, thank you for the contribution, because this vision of a project is it's a big vision, and what I'm asking of churches, we're working with kind of groups of churches, but still I'm asking quite a bit of an ambitious investment and to cover the cost of the whole thing. So the money that Sputnik gave just helped me to relieve a little bit of that and enabled us to invest in the promotion. One of the big things about this is just trying to make sure we get people to come to these events. And so that money that Sputnik was able to give me just contributes and helps us to reach more people in order to get them to this event, where the church and the people, the Christians involved, can build relationships, they can go on a journey, they can invite them to this thing, they can just be present in their communities. And that investment, that small little kind of gift from Sputnik, it just helps us to really kind of reach the people that we're looking to reach.
Oh, I love it. Well, brilliant, Tom. It's brilliant to be involved in what you're doing. Really hoping the best, praying for you, and brilliant to catch up and look forward to hearing how it all goes. So thank you so much for joining us. And everyone, see you soon.
Thanks, Johnny.